Alrighty, while we're waiting for the rest of our registered humans to join us, hello, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jason Onesto. I am the Assistant Director of New Student Programs here at the University of Richmond. We appreciate you joining us for the next episode in our New Spider Summer Series. Before we jump into content, just a couple of housekeeping items. You'll notice at the bottom of your screen there is a Q&A box. You'll see it's a little square box with a question mark in the middle of it. Feel free to submit any questions that you have here throughout the content. We'll have some formal time at the end to answer these questions, but if you want to go ahead and submit them whenever you have them, we'll be sure to get those answered as quickly as possible. Um, I believe that's all I have from my end. I will go ahead and hand things off to our guest for today. Starting with, just because she is the first person that I see on my screen, I'll hand things off to Taylor.
Hi, my name is Taylor Walsh, and I'm the Director of Housing, and I'm joined by my colleague, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joy Heinzman, and I serve as the Director of Residence Life.
So we have a little bit of information for you today about living on campus and the housing application process, so we will go ahead and jump right in.
Next. All right, so starting with a little bit about our office and who we are. We are really the people who are responsible for making your students live on experience the best that it possibly can be. So our mission here is to foster communities by celebrating individuals, students through the encouragement of personal growth and development that embraces inclusion, encourages responsible leadership, and promotes an intellectual community. So sometimes if they're having a difficult time, we're still going to help them work through those challenges and come out on the other side in that growth aspect. Our values are community, connection, inclusivity, and support. So all those programming that we do, all the initiatives that we have are really rooted in those values, again, to make sure students feel that they are part of our web and that they are making the most of their live-on experience. And our overall vision is to support the co-curricular development of all residential students while creating a sense of belonging in the Spider community. So some of the benefits that we have of living on campus, and just a few facts that we wanted to share with you, is above all else, it is convenient to live right on campus where you are next to your classes and you can walk across campus and enjoy the beautiful benefit of what we have to offer here. Over 99% of all first year students do live on campus. We have specific buildings designated to our first year populations so they can really get to know their class cohort, build those solid connections their first year. And then as you move on throughout the rest of your college career here, you'll see that over 89% of our students live on campus for all 4 years. It's great to be here so that you can participate in the after hours activities, join clubs and organizations, be close by for research and anything like that. So it's really convenient to live on campus. And we have all of the support here for our students. So for resident assistants and our head residents, those are our undergraduate student peers who help enforce policy and build community within our residence hall. Our average ratio is about 25 residents per each resident assistant or head resident. That's a really low ratio, so there's a lot of support for each person living on campus. We have our live-in staff right here on campus. So if there's an after hours emergency, crisis situation, they're going through a difficult time, we have professional staff on campus in the buildings our students live in that are here to help them should anything arise that needs to be taken care of outside of business hours. One of the unique programs and opportunities that we have for our first year residence halls is our faculty and residence programs. So there are 5 faculty members, one paired with each one of our first year halls. They have different academic specialties, but they partner with us to put on programming in the halls. So it really helps our students build connection with faculty early on. And these initial interactions, again, helps students connect to research, understand that faculty members are supportive and there to help them throughout their whole college career. And it really starts off with them getting to know different disciplines and different people there. Our programming that we offer our students is called our Spider Residential Experience, and it's built on helping the holistic student develop and gain understandings of different things beyond just connection. But that is what we focus on. So our resident assistants are doing programming at the community level for people to know who lives down the hall from them at the building wide level so they know who they're sharing a building with, and at the overall university level so we can mix populations and get to know people from one side of campus or another.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our first year residence halls. We have a couple on the Richmond College side of campus, which are Dennis Marsh, Moore, Robbins, and what is actually a first year and returning student residence hall. And then we also have Laura Robbins Court on the West Hampton College side of campus. Each individual room has access to control their heating and cooling units. There's laundry and vending in every single one of our residential buildings. Each one has lounges and some study spaces. All of our buildings are co-ed by floor section or pod. Specifically, Laura Robbins Courts has different pods within that building. We do offer some additional housing options, including substance-free housing. So if you desire to live in a community of students who do not partake in substances, you can certainly opt into that and participate in substance-free housing. We also offer gender flexible housing for any student who might desire or need to live with any student of any gender or gender identity. And we also have our Living Learning program for first year students, which is called Endeavor, where students take a class or take multiple classes together and live in Laura Robbins Court within that community. So we do have our housing application, which is currently open. It is located in Student Stars portal. The link to that can be found on our website as well as in the New Spider portal in Slate. And it includes the housing contract. We ask some questions about students' lifestyles. So for any student who doesn't have a roommate, they can certainly search through those profile questions to try to find a good match for them. Or if they choose not to find a roommate within that housing application, then we'll use that to pair them with another student. But these lifestyle questions include questions about their sleep patterns and when they prefer to go to sleep or how they prefer the environment to be when they sleep. It asks questions about their study habits and do they prefer to study in the room or somewhere else, and what does studying time look like for them. So just some general questions about how you live and how you want to live when you get to campus. So we do ask that you answer those lifestyle questions as honestly as possible because, again, it does help us to try to match you with a roommate if you don't choose your roommate beforehand. So that way you can have the best possible experience when coming to campus the first time. And there's the link to the StarRez portal right there on the page. That roommate portal is not currently open and will open for first year students starting on June 9th. So students, if they try to go into the roommate portal now, they won't see that roommate portal. But when they go in on the 9th, they'll see either just the general roommate portal, or if they're participating in Endeavor, they'll only see Endeavor students. So they'll log into that application and see that Endeavor roommate portal. If you do have a roommate that you've already selected, you need to make sure you go in and do that matching in StarRez. Any other matching won't be considered for a roommate. So when you log into that roommate portal, here's what the instructions page is going to look like. I encourage you all to read it thoroughly because there's a lot of really great information on our roommate page. So basically, if I wanted to be roommates with Joy, I would go into the roommate portal, I would create a roommate group and try to search for Joy in that roommate portal. And then once I find her information, I would request her to join my roommate group. She would then need to go into her roommate portal and accept that request. So it's kind of a both and situation where they need to both go in and request each other in that roommate portal. We do have options for triple rooms. So if you're participating in this process and you want a roommate, you can either choose one or possibly two roommates if you are interested in a triple. So that is a possibility as well. And please note that there is like a 3-day limit for those roommate requests. So if I go in and request Joy and she doesn't accept it within 3 days, that request will just disappear and I'll have to go in and request her again. So make sure that you all are paying attention to those roommate requests as they come in. You can also message people in the roommate portal. So if I go in and I think, oh, Joy and I could be great roommates, but I'm not 100% sure yet and just want to introduce myself and say hello, then I can certainly do that through that messaging feature within the housing application as well. So here's what the search page looks like. As you can see, you can go through and search by like first and last name. You can also search through those profile questions. So if I'm looking for somebody who is going to go to bed at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. every night, then I can go in and look for early to bed, early to rise people within those profile questions. Or if I am somebody who's a little messy, maybe I go in and search for a roommate who possibly shares similar like housekeeping habits to me by clicking that search for roommates by profiles button. The portal will also suggest roommates for you. So just the overall match, not based off of any profile questions or not based off like a specific profile question, just your general overall best matches will pop up as well. So that way you can see sort of who the best overall match for you would be. We do have a few other resources for you. On our website, we do have virtual tours of all of our residence halls. So I encourage you to go in and kind of click around and see what the experience might be for your first year student. It also includes like measuring tools within that virtual tour. So once you do get your housing assignment, if you have questions about how long the bed is or how tall the bed is, you can go in and measure with that measuring tool. It also on our website includes the furniture that is provided in each room, which includes 2 beds, 2 desks, 2 chairs, 2 dressers, and oftentimes like an additional like either a little storage cabinet or like a little bookcase. We also recommend that you check out the items that we suggest students bring to campus for their room, or also making sure that you're paying attention to the prohibited items list as well. So that way you're not bringing something that you can't have in your residence hall. And I also always encourage students to follow us on Instagram. There is our handle, which is at Richmond RLH. So that way you can kind of see what's going on campus in past years and just to stay up to date with programming that happens within our residence halls. A little information about that housing application. So again, it is currently open for new and entering students, and that roommate portal will open on June 9th. So be sure to go back into that application on June 9th if you've already like gone and assigned your housing contract. That's fine. But that roommate portal does open on the 9th, so you can go back in and start browsing for roommates or find your roommate and create that roommate group. Everything needs to be finalized by June 29th. So that's when our housing application closes, and everything needs to be completed by that point. And then on July 20th is the latest we'll send out our housing assignments. So be sure to be checking your University of Richmond email address for those updates, and be sure to check back by July 20th. All right, so that's all the information that we have for you. I know that there's a lot of information that we covered, but if you have questions, we will certainly be happy to answer this for you.
Alrighty, it does look like we already have a couple of them. I think one that has already been answered, we'll go ahead and I'll read out loud just for the sake of the recording that we have right now. We had a question that asks, does the faculty in residence program extend to Laura Robbins / the Endeavor program? And Joy responded via text, said Laura Robbins Court has a faculty in residence in addition to the Endeavor program. Some years this faculty member has taught one of the Endeavor programs, but not always. I think we'll start with this first one. Can you expand on the co-ed flooring, especially with the bathrooms?
Yep, so our buildings are single gender by floor or section or pod, just depending on the layout of the building. So that would include a single gender traditional style restroom. All of our residence halls also have single-use lockable bathrooms that are all gender. So any student of any gender can go into those single-use lockable bathrooms and use those as well.
Right on. Next question. If you are in the Endeavor program, can you live in substance-free housing?
So that just depends on program numbers. In the past couple of years, we haven't had a lot of interest in both Endeavor and substance free, so we haven't been able to designate an entire like floor in a pod in Laura Robbins Court to substance free housing. So typically, if you are participating in Laura or in Endeavor, you do not also participate in substance free housing.
All right, and our next question, do we get matched with a roommate or do we select a roommate from the portal?
That's entirely up to you. So there is an option to go in and select a roommate in the roommate portal. But if you don't select a roommate, then you would be matched with a roommate based off your profile questions.
Lovely. Are there printers in the dorms or only in the library?
There are not printers in our residence halls. I believe that there are printers sort of scattered across campus. So there might be other opportunities to like print outside of the library, but not within the residence halls.
What other questions do we have?
So it looks like there was just a question that came in that says how many washer and dryers are in each dorm room. That's really going to depend on the size of our residence hall. We have approximately a 16-to-1 washer dryer ratio to student. So 16 students for every one washer dryer situation that we have. So our smaller buildings are going to have fewer washers and dryers, where our larger buildings will have more. But they do have the opportunity to use the Speed Queen app to see where a washing machine may be available and open. And if there's not one in their building, they are welcome to take their laundry to the building next door, or wherever there's another one to do their laundry there.
It looks like there's another question about Endeavor and who else lives in Laura Robbins Court. So Endeavor does not contain, Laura Robbins Court does not contain only Endeavor students. So it includes Endeavor and just general students. Basically, when we do our housing assignments, they are all random outside of the Endeavor program. So you could randomly be placed in Laura Robbins Court. You could be randomly placed in Marsh or Moore or a different first year building. Looks like the next question, do we get matched or do we find someone we match with? So either or, so you can either choose your roommate or you can choose to not pick a roommate and we would match you based off those profile questions. The next question is, how could I ship things to Richmond? Is there a specific drop-off spot for bedding to ship? So we do have a post office on campus, and I believe it's August 1st is when students will get like their post office box number or post office instructions to like ship items to campus. So you are more than welcome to ship items to campus. I would also recommend coordinating with the post office 'cause I don't know how long they will hold items in their post office. So like if you ship something like right at on the August 1st, I don't know that they would hold it all the way till move-in. So you might just need to be coordinating that with the post office.
And then I could take this next one. Will this be recorded to watch later? Yes, we are currently recording. All of our webinars are from our New Spider Summer Series are recorded and uploaded to our New Spiders YouTube page. You can just go to YouTube and look up New Spider Summer Series, and you will find not only all of the webinars from this season, but also any from past season, either last year, the year before, or any of our years prior. So yes, this will be made available to you. Our goal is to do it 24 hours after the webinar is scheduled, so you will be able to refer back to this really at any point in time starting tomorrow. How big are the washing machines and dryers?
Yeah. I'll take that since I answered the other question about the laundry machines. They're pretty much your standard size that you would find in most residential homes. They're not going to be the big industrial ones, but they can fit a decent sized load of laundry in them. They also, if you wanted to do like the twin size comforters and like the sheets and stuff like that, you can do them. But you can't really do like the giant like queen size comforters. Those won't fit in too well, but pretty average size for, like a week's worth of laundry.
Are there any sinks in the halls to wash bottles or other similar items? So we do have sinks in the restrooms in all of the residence halls, but outside of that, there aren't sinks designated specifically for water bottles or like dishes. Um, I know like West Hampton College Deanery does have a kitchen that students can use. So if you're looking specifically for like a kitchen area, you can always go there to like wash bottles if you need to. The next question is, what does a typical residential common area contain? So it kind of just depends on the intended use of the space. So we do have some like residential classrooms in our residence halls. So like Laura Robbins Court has like a small classroom in there, and that contains like chairs and like tables to like act as like desks, as well as I believe a projector is in there too, if I remember correctly. And maybe some like whiteboards. And then all of our buildings have lounges that students can use. So that is like lounge furniture with like couches and coffee tables, and other furniture as well. The next question is, when do you get notified which building you are assigned to? So when you get your housing assignment by July 20th, it will include your building assignment, it will include your room number and your roommate's name and information as well.
I'll give Taylor a break and answer the next one. So it's, are fridges and microwaves allowed in the dorm rooms? Yes, they are. So just be mindful of the space and stuff that we have in there. If you don't want to lug it up the stairs yourself on move-in day, you can also go through our partner, which is Dorms Direct. You can rent one from them and they will have it delivered to your room before move-in days. And so you don't have to bringing up all those steps. And then at the end of the year, they will also take it out for you. And that link is available on our website if you are looking to rent it from them.
The next question is, do you have a size rug you recommend for dorms? 5 by 7? I think it just depends on ultimately like what kind of coverage you're looking for. Again, dimensions are on our website, so you can certainly go in and check out those virtual tours and see like if I measure a 5 by 7 rug out in a room in Moore Hall, like what will that look like? So it's also an opportunity for you to kind of gauge the size of what size rug you're looking for.
And then I can take this next one. It says, due to international travel luggage space constraints, is bedding provided or can we purchase bedding during orientation? I'll answer that second piece first. So during international orientation, you will actually be able to move on campus early to accommodate any complications that you may experience while traveling internationally. And part of the programming for your international orientation is scheduled shopping trips to purchase any necessities that you have that you maybe weren't able to bring over. So you will have opportunities to purchase bedding. But from my understanding, we are also able to provide bedding for you upon your arrival. You just have to let us know, or let the international orientation folks know, and that way we were able to get that to you.
So the next question is, are there carbon monoxide detectors on each floor? Um, I'm not 100% on that answer. I believe that there are like carbon monoxide combination smoke detectors in each room, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Joy, I don't know if you have any additional information about like the smoke detectors being also carbon monoxide detectors.
I think that's information we need to get with our fire safety marshal on because I don't want to speak incorrectly. So we can take that question, get Jason the answer for follow-up.
Yes, I will make a note of that question and the name of the folks who are asking and make sure we can get that information distributed in some way.
The next question is there room to store suitcases in the room? There is storage options inside of your room. So each room either has like a wardrobe or a closet for each student, so they could always store the suitcases in there. Our beds also like raise up and lower down. So if you wanted to store a suitcase under there, you could also raise your bed up to store the suitcases as well. The next question is, when the housing portal opens, did you say you'll be able to see a list of recommended roommates based on the overall match? Um, so that's when the roommate portal opens. So the housing application is currently open, but when the roommate portal opens on June 9th, yes, it'll show you recommended matches based off of the profile questions that you answered, and those will be like the best overall matches, but not giving any extra weight to specific profiles that you might be looking for.
Any other questions before we close out?
I think I do see another one that just came in.
Yep.
What happens if the roommate match doesn't work out? Can there be a change in the room? So you can certainly request a room change, depending on the severity of the roommate conflict or whatever is going on in the situation. We'd encourage you to work with your resident assistant. They could do some mediation to help alleviate any like pinch points or problems that are happening in the room. But if that is not working, then we could certainly accommodate a room change. And you would do that by filling out a room change request form.
Okay. I knew as soon as I spoke it was gonna pop back in. Here we go.
So if you have a roommate already, do you fill out the housing form but not the roommate one yet? So any student who needs on-campus housing does need to go in and sign their housing contract. And part of that application does include like the profile questions. If you already know who you're going to live with, you'll still need to fill out those profile questions. But then once the roommate portal opens, you'll certainly be able to go in and look for your like already chosen roommate. The next question is, how does housing work during breaks? So for fall break, Thanksgiving break, and spring break, our residence halls do not close. So students can come and go as they need and see fit during those breaks. During winter break, our halls do close. We do have an on-campus request form for students who need like a late stay, whether they need to just stay a few days into the break, an early arrival if they need to come back a few days early, or they can request to stay for the full winter break as well. The next question is there summer storage? We don't have summer storage on campus. We do work with a couple of storage companies in the city of Richmond who can store your belongings, but we don't offer anything here on campus. How about during summer, do all of our residence halls close? All of our residence halls will close at the end of the spring semester. However, we do offer summer housing. So for students who are on campus and participating in a university-sponsored activity, whether that's summer classes or an on-campus like job, we also have summer students who will do research or an internship on campus as well. And those are reasons that we would approve you to stay on campus over the summer. But you can be on campus as few as 5 weeks over the summer or as long as 11 weeks. And then we also offer an extended stay period, which would take you all the way to the fall semester if you have fall housing.
Alrighty, we are coming to the end of our time. There it is.
So if the student's not staying during the summer, they need to move all of their stuff elsewhere. So yes, the halls will close and you would need to completely move out of that space for the summer if you're not staying on campus over the summer.
Perfect. So as I was saying, we are unfortunately coming to the end of our time together today. If you do have additional questions, feel free to utilize the email that you see on your screen, residencelife@richmond.edu. As I shared earlier on in the webinar, each of our webinars from the New Spider Summer Series is recorded, including this one, and it will be uploaded to our YouTube page, at our New Spiders YouTube page. You can go to YouTube, look up New Spider Summer Series, and you'll see all of our videos pop up. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we have helped to answer some of your questions and provide you some additional information. If for some reason you need to reach out to us and connect those further, please feel free to utilize the email at the bottom of your screen. Otherwise, we look forward to welcoming you in August. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you soon.